Okay, it's September the 13th. It's going to be the end of an era of sorts here in the side garden bed beside the house. And right in front of us here is a burning bush. You can see it's already starting to turn red for fall. And I'm taking this sucker out of here because it is a highly invasive species. It has all sorts of berries, which the birds do like. They try to claim it's not really the best for the birds because it's high sugar content rather than high fat content, which is always a little bit better. But yeah, I've got all sorts of these things popping up all over the property, and I know some of them come from this particular one. I'll never really get rid of all of them because I've also got neighbors that's got burning bushes. This thing is quite large. It's got like 12 trunks coming out at least. It's about 13, 14 foot wide and about the same height. So I'll just keep scanning around here so you get an idea of what's going on. It's not going to look as good after it comes out, that's for sure. But it really does need to come out of there because I just don't need more invasive species. I'm all about removing invasive species, and this is one of the worst ones, one of the worst ones going. So yeah, it's going to be coming out of here. Let's show the base of this. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut it out of here with a chainsaw. And there's the base of it, like right there. Okay, I did stack some buckets and bags of mulch there on the right to try to minimize any hosta damage from fallen limbs from this thing. So, yep, let's get started. Okay, I'll just show a little close-up here of what I've done so far. Got about half of it out of here. Okay, so there you go. The burning bush is mostly gone. And my hostas, even though I really didn't take that great pains with them, fear not, they did just fine, really. I didn't actually crunch any of them severely, but you know, it's gonna frost them out in a little over a month anyway. I would have been taking a little more pains with them had it been earlier in the season. So you can see this was pretty much of a beast of a bush here. It had been here probably at least 30 years. And you know, part of me hates to see it go, but I know it needs to go. All right, let's show what we took out right here. We got two great big piles of this stuff here. Back her up, 1 pile, 2 piles. I'll probably just drag this on down to the creek and put it all in my bulkhead. And this is what the bark of this stuff here looks like. Some of the burning bush has more of your classic wings on it, kind of like the winged sumac does. As a matter of fact, I thought my winged sumac was some of this stuff here when I first saw it. But the burning bush just has kind of this ridged looking bark like this. Okay, it is now September 28th. I wound up grubbing out this burning bush because I just wanted to get things all squared away for maybe in a couple of weeks or next spring, and that was just going to be in my way. And I took the additional steps of this was a waterfall right above these hostas here. Was a waterfall. You should be able to see, you know, something of it on my previous clips there, even though I didn't really point stuff out. So I took the waterfall out, took a bunch of rocks out, took a whole bunch of hostas out. Fear not, I'm repurposing the hostas, and there was some kind of low mountain conifer type thing right there. I took it out because, you know, not a pollinator. It had been there for probably 20 or 30 years, but I never was a big fan of it. One thing that's going on right here is the dirt level is still higher than I'd like right in this area, but there's a lot of roots there. I'm a little bit concerned about this wild cherry tree, which I definitely want to leave because I need something. I need a little something for those hostas and that azalea and for the birds. But yeah, I'd really like to take this down about 8 inches, 8, 9, 10 inches anyway. And I'm a little worried about the roots, how much damage I'm going to do to the roots of this tree. We shall see. You can get a better idea of how this trunk of this tree, it's kind of interesting type of deal. You know, there was all kind of rocks around it at one time in its history before just the other day. And yeah, it started out like, you know, way over here, and it had to go way over here to find some light. So there's that. Another thing I did back here, the rocks that came out from the waterfall, which there was a huge amount, I built a little low rock wall here with them on the back side of these particular hostas, which will be staying here because it does get a lot of shade right here. And in the area I have created here, I know that I'm going to put either 2 or 3 of a type of hydrangea, a pollinator type called Haas Halo, H-A-S-H-A-L-O. It's not one of the mop head types. It's the type that has, you know, lace tap type. I never have really planted hydrangeas because I never could come up with one that I thought would be a consistent pollinator. I know there are some that are, you know, that are pollinator type of plants. But the Haas Halo, I saw all kind of people bragging on the Haas Halo, so I'm going to go with that. 2 or 3 of them here, which I've already got ordered. Hard plant to come by the way. I ordered it 2 months ago. It was out of stock. I ordered it 2 months ago. Supposedly it's going to come sometime in October. And if you check around, you won't find any. You just unfortunately will not find any right now. But hopefully that will occur. Right here is my Turk's cap. It finally started blooming here late in the season. Let's see if we can get a pretty good close-up of that. Focus. This is supposedly a good camera. I don't know why the focus was so soft on the close-ups. I know I could do macro, manual mode and get it dialed straight in there. I think if it was bright sunny, I could get a little better focus on that. But anyway, that is what is going on here. Now, I had additional better stones than what I built the rock wall with right here. So I did some steps, which I'm going to take you out there right now and show you these steps that I did. And I'm going to do the hostas that came. There was just, the hostas seems like they grow like weeds around here. Plus I never deadhead them, so I guess they reseed. I don't really know if much reseeding goes on hostas, or if it's just strictly by the underground rhizomes or clumps or whatever. All right, here's my steps that I've done, which I'm not quite done with them yet. I just figured these are what came out of the waterfall area I just showed. I did not buy, I needed to do something with them, so I repurposed them over this way. So pretty decent steps to mostly nowhere, but it's kind of cleared out in there, but not totally yet. But yeah, we'll just sort of walk up them here, and you can get maybe a little better idea of them. I was kind of happy with how they turned out. I'm maybe going to try to get some other stones and kind of chink in between the steps. Otherwise, all this stuff will be kind of washing down upon each step. But yeah, I kind of like that. I've always liked kind of stone and rock work and things like that. But here's what it looks like on top. There's a couple of chairs there with no cushions in them. So yeah, I've done a pretty good bit of clearing here already. We'll look down the steps here. So there's that. And also, let me back up. On either side of these steps is a good little chunk of real estate, and it's in quite a bit of shade all day. So this is my dirt pile. I bought some topsoil this year and had it dumped over here. It wasn't the best topsoil. I found a better place to get it later on, but yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, these are all the hostas that came out from the waterfall area there where the burning bush was behind in there. So there's way more in here than what you think that they are. I mean, I just chunked them all together for a temporary resting spot here in the middle of all this. So hopefully in the next couple of days I'll be able to get them planted on either side of that walkway there. And there's a little bit of my stone right here that I'm going to try to chink in between my steps. So I think that should pretty much cover this little project for right now. And here's where the hostas were that I had temporarily located here in my topsoil pile. And I put them on either side of this walkway that I built here. The walkway to almost nowhere. But yeah, have you ever seen such a sad bunch of hostas in your entire life? But these things are tough as nails, my experience with them anyway. I did put a little soil conditioner out, but it's still kind of a lot of clay content and it packs pretty tight, so we'll see how it does. One thing I'm not sure, these are just ancient hostas that's been around here on the property for forever. And like these here, they seem to be a little glossier and the leaves are smaller, so maybe two different types of hostas that we're talking about here. There's the next, for sure, smaller version. I don't know if these are just some young ones that haven't matured to this, but they seem to be different to me anyway. And here's what my stone steps looks like after I sort of chinked in all kind of rocks there in the bare spots. I think it looks quite a bit better. So yeah, we'll sort of slowly walk up them here so you can get a better view of them. And again, every one of these rocks came from what used to be what I call my waterfall there where I took out the burning bush in that area there, where I used to have a pond and a waterfall. And then the big herring came one day and ate all my fish, and then I just decided I'd do away with the waterfall. But I think it looks and the pond. But I think it's pretty good just for basically free rocks. Or I paid for them originally, but that was a long time ago, and they were just kind of in the way back there. So there you go. Okay. That's it for this project. Okay, it's now October the 4th. Thought I'd give a little update on this back of the side garden project here. I've got it all mulched out, more or less graded. I did go ahead and plant the Shoal Creek Vitex that I bought rather than transplanting one. I figured the smaller one would take longer to outgrow its space because these can get pretty big, although you can size control them pretty good. Earlier I was worried about this root here. I went ahead and dug down a little bit on either side of this root, which probably comes from this wild cherry tree over here. And it just seemed like there was a lot of roots below it. So not an ideal situation there, but I'm going to plant something or other here and here, and it'll wind up covering up that root so you won't even be able to see it. May plant a corresponding azalea, just sort of have an azalea rimming right around these rocks here. Or I did buy this Montauk daisy today. This is my second go around with the Montauk daisy. The other one died several years back, and I had been kind of skeptical about them being much of a pollinator plant, but there were quite a few bees on them, honeybees on them at Lowe's whenever I bought it today. Right now there's a mosquito. There went a little mosquito. We don't want to feed the mosquitoes, but anyway, but it's a very cold hardy plant. And what happened, I planted it about this time a couple of years ago, one of these, and it leafed out and was looking great in the spring. And I mean, it was late, it was like April. We had a night that was like 15 degrees and a huge frost, and it just killed it deader than a doornail, even though it's cold hardy to far north of here. But anyway, all right, let's cover this here again. This, of course, is where the burning bush came out. And right over that area is where the big round pine thing came out. I did know the name of it at one point in history, but I don't now. And here is, of course, the Shoal Creek Vitex that I just planted. And I've got 3 spots here. 1, 2, 3. And I have 3, I've mentioned this, I've got 3 Haas Halo Hydrangeas on order, and they will be here within just a few days. They sent me a notification that they were coming in, so that's good. Like I say, they're very hard to get, and they're a good pollinator plant. So here's the view from the back side here. I did leave one hosta right there. Figured I needed to leave one up that way. So yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty good here. I'll intermingle a few other plants around and about with the Shoal Creek Vitex and the Haas Halo Hydrangeas, which, as I say, is supposed to be a good pollinator plant. Eventually they'll take over, and they'll take up much of the real estate in this bed, and the other things will go by the wayside, but that'll be several years down the line. The hydrangeas are like, I think, only in 4-inch pots, so it'll be a multi-year process on them. I'll show them right after I get them planted. I probably won't even post this video until I do get them planted. Okay, this root here has continued to bug me. That's on the back side of where the hostas are. and I decided I would go ahead and take out this one root. It's not really that big diameter. It's like 2.5 inches in diameter, maybe 2 inches. And I think a tree that size, I think it's pretty well rooted. So I just moved that rock out right there, and I finally got through this big old root here. So let's see what we got here. And I'll have to do the other end of it here somewhere. I might have to turn my rock over one more time. It was strange, it kind of went out here and then made just a very sharp turn. I guess this is probably where the previous waterfall rock were, and it hit it and then went the other direction. So yeah, I don't have my tripod out here with me, so I will you know, just put my camera up for a little while, and well, I might be able to put on this rock that I just then. Okay, that kind of works. Might be a little bit of an angle. I'll take my microphone off here. Okay, so this is going to be several inches deep underneath the rock, so there's no use in me continuing on. Cut it off right there. So there we go. That is a quite contorted root there, I would say. Okay, and before I get this rock totally back in place, I'm going to go ahead and take out 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 hostas here. There's going to be quite a bit of sun on this backside for really probably several years. So yeah, I think I can take them out and put at least for a few years, put a Montauk daisy here, and I have a eternal fragrance Daphne that is being crowded out elsewhere. I'm going to put that there, and we'll see about the rest of this bed, filling it out later on. So let's get these hostas taken out. Pow! 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 So that was easy. As you can see, I just went with the one plant here, right smack dab in the middle of this little bed that the rocks created. This is the eternal fragrance Daphne. It was just going to be too crowded too soon if I put the Montauk daisy in there. I am going to find a spot for you, my Montauk. Okay, yeah, so eternal fragrance. Let me show a close-up of the blooms. Let's see if I can get better focus than what I've been getting. It has a flush of blooms in the spring, and then kind of sporadic blooms thereafter, and it is extremely fragrant. So, but yep, that's how it's gonna wind up being. And these get fairly large. Not entirely certain, but I think it's going to be at least a 4x4 type of plant. So that will definitely fill in that whole thing. And if I go with a Haas Halo here, there definitely will be some crowding, but it will be a couple years down the road. But I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. And even though this azalea here is not fragrant and not a pollinator plant, there is some chance I will continue it around. This bed is just kind of, this rock bed here is just kind of begging for this low growing azalea, and hopefully I can find the 2 more low growing ones, one there and one there to frame this. And I suppose if I don't go with the Haas Halo, I could go with 4. I could go 1, 2, well 3, excuse me, 1, 2, and 3 framing this, and keep them, you know, kind of trimmed up where everything doesn't get so smushed together. This bed up front, I would like to get it a little bit sorted out on it being quite everything so smushed together. So we'll see how that goes. But this will definitely be a next spring project on the 3 azaleas here. For one thing, the garden supply, local garden store doesn't even have azaleas, and I'm not going to spend for something heavy to be shipped in that I can buy local. Always buy local if you can, so you can pick and choose. Otherwise, you're going to get occasionally some crushed up plants. I was able to dig down a fair amount here where I took that root out. You saw me take the root out, and it's just kind of a gentle slope going up there, which is what I wanted. So yeah, let me back up, show an overview, and that will be it for this edition of my garden makeover. So, oh yeah, it's coming along. If you'll remember, I had the burning bush right there, and pretty much nothing there except a waterfall. Took out a big mounding conifer thing there, and now I've got the Shoal Creek Vitex and at least two Haas Halos, and to be determined, and the Montauk daisy fitting in, if not here, somewhere else. Okay, it's now October the 11th here at Zone 7A in Western North Carolina. I continue to work on this back bed a little bit here where I've been revamping things. As you can see, the leaves are starting to fall now. All right, I wound up right here in more or less exactly the same spot where the burning bush was. Went with a straight species of Itea virginica, which I transplanted from elsewhere, from a spot where it was overcrowded. I did that because I have now got 3 Haas Halos, Haas Halo Hydrangeas, which have come in, which I will unbox here shortly. But the Haas Halos are going to wind up being about a 5x5 type of plant, whereas this Itea virginica is going to be 4x4. The Haas Halos could even get 6x6, so they have the potential to get much larger than this straight species of Itea virginica. And as you can see, this, whenever it does get to its full height, is going to be just a really great looking fall plant. It's got some nice fall colors going on there. It's a multi-stemmed trunk. So there's that. And also I planted the Perfume Princess Daphne. This has been in a pot. I've had it in a pot for 2 years. And I finally decided that this was a spot for it right here. I always liked how the bark shows up as kind of cinnamon colored bark on this thing. Yeah, it's a little bit dark out here. It's a rainy day, so hopefully I won't get rained out filming this. And I did wind up, at least for the time being, sticking the Montauk daisy right over here. Don't know if it will wind up staying here, but it's going to stay here for, at least till next spring anyway. This is where ultimately I hope to have a honeysuckle, a gold flame honeysuckle growing around on here. So I might come right from here and then go up one and then across. I don't know, with the honeysuckle. Assuming the honeysuckle ever takes off and starts doing anything, it's still pretty small. Okay, let's go over here and I'll set my camera on a tripod, and we will unbox these 3 Haas Halo Hydrangeas. I might have to do it. I'm going to have to do this in the dry. Okay, let's see what we got. These, by the way, came from American Meadows. Ordered them a couple of months ago. They didn't have in stock, and if you check their site right now, it will say out of stock. This is 3 Haas Halo Hydrangeas. Supposedly a good pollinator plant. I'll only be putting 2 of them back there in that garden bed, and I'll be replacing another plant elsewhere. Alright, this is what we got. There's what we look like. A little bit on the wilted side, but not bad. I think it'll shake right on up. Hello. Hello. Okay, there is what we look like. These are very small plants. I think they're calling this a 4-inch pot. Okay, actually, even though they look a little wilty, which, I mean, that's normal, that's to be expected, I'm actually happy with these for, you know, for a 4-inch pot. They look just fine for a 4-inch pot. Okay, I've been eagerly anticipating these. I know they don't look like much right now, but I have been eagerly anticipating these. They need some hydration. I would have rather them that they had like some plastic over the top there. They would have been a little less wilty, but it's not bad at all. If it had been like 90 degrees when these things were shipped, they would not have looked too good, but they look really, really good. So I'll be watering them. I don't necessarily need to show that. Here's a little tag. Okay. That's all right. Hydrangea, Haas Halo, American Meadows. There's the information on the back. Let's see if I can get, and my camera will focus on it here. Sun to part shade. 4 to 5 feet. I think it will actually get a little bigger than that, to tell the truth of the matter. And here's what the root system on this looks like whenever I take the little plastic cover off of it. A good looking root system. I'll be teasing these up. I'm not necessarily going to show this because it's really just going to be pretty simple. And I've already prepared 2 spots here on the back bed here, one, and there's where the other one is going to go. I'll show them after they're already in the ground here. And I'll put the 2 best plants here. And I just want to say I would have bought much bigger plants if I could have, but this was the only ones of this kind that which were available. So there you go. Okay, I now have these 2 Haas Halos in the ground in this particular garden bed here. Thought I'd show a close-up of them. By the way, this is hardwood mulch here. Ordinarily I use pine bark mulch, but sometimes if there's an open bag of hardwood, you know, and I can get it for half price, I always go for the open bags of mulch at Lowe's because they're half price. The pine bark adds nutrients to the soil faster because it breaks down a little faster, but the hardwood lasts a little longer, so it's a little more economical as far as that goes, but it costs more. But as you can see, these Haas Halos are already plumping up a little bit here. And I will be putting some cages around them here for the maybe for 6 or 8 months, maybe for a year, because the squirrels will be digging in these just immediately, and they could easily unearth one of these small 4-inch pot plants. But yeah, I think they're looking pretty good. I'll be putting the 3rd one in a different location. And here's just the overview shot of how this bed is going. I, of course, moved out the huge burning bush right there. And yeah, I've already explained pretty much all this. And this is how it's looking. In the center there is the Shoal Creek Vitex, Haas Halo, Itea virginica, straight species, Daphne. Yeah, and the azalea, and I'm going to put a couple more azaleas there probably, or something else. But yeah, I think it's looking, well, I think it's looking pretty good. It'll be a couple of years, it'll be several years before things fill on out. I'll be filling them out, you know, temporarily with annuals and maybe some smallish 1x1, 2x2 type of perennials. Nothing that gets too huge. Here's a little cat, and this is a stray cat. I have been feeding the stray cat. Come on, stick your head out there. I call him Streak because he's got a streak on his back. Are you hungry? Are you hungry, huh? You hungry, Streak? Yeah? Let's see here. Yeah, there's Streak. Yeah, I see you, little guy. I've got a cat inside. That's strictly an indoor cat. Used to be indoor-outdoor, Susie, but Susie just chose on her own all of a sudden to be strictly an outdoor cat. You can see the streak on his back, white streak or white spot, but I'm not going to call a cat Spot, so I'll call him Streak. Really don't know if he's stray or if it's a neighbor's cat, but he's been coming around here and I've been feeding it. Okay, here's what the back part of this side garden bed looks like on October 25th. I mulched everything down with pine bark mulch and a little bit of pine straw around some of my stuff. I kind of piled it a little bit higher than I normally would, just to protect the roots here for the coming cold weather. Not sure it really needs it here in Zone 7A, but you know, I got it all planted pretty late, so you can't take too many precautions. Just didn't want any of my Haas Halos to freeze out or anything because of planting them so late. All right, so that is gonna be it right there. Stick a fork in it, it's done. And this third Haas Halo, this is only like an hour later, when you can see they're already plumping up and looking unwilty now. This is the smallest of the three Haas Halos, by the way. I wanted the two nicest ones in my main bed out there. But it's going to go right here where this runt Miss Kim lilac is, believe it or not. This Miss Kim lilac is now, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old. I don't know if it's ever going to do anything, but anyway, this is kind of a prime location right here. And you can see it's kind of all out by itself where it's going to get plenty of sun. Until this shows me something, it's going to go in a pot, and it's just going to sit in the pot for a while, either that or in my overflow bed until it actually shows me something. For some reason, these lilacs around here in the fall, you know, way before frost, start looking real ratty, all except one breed I've tried called Oh Glory lilac. I showed it many videos back, but I will show it again someday. It's in the backyard, but it does not look ratty at all. I've got this and a nondescript one that's been here like 30 years, and bloomerang, and they all just look awful in the fall, even before frost. Right here, I guess I'll transplant this. This is a butterfly bush that came up here on its own that seeded itself here. I really don't have many butterfly bushes that seed themselves around, but one did here, so I will stick it somewhere else. And here is where the butterfly bush was transplanted to, right there. Really didn't have a whole lot of roots on it, but I got all the roots it did have. And here is where the Miss Kim lilac was transplanted to, as I like to call my overflow bed. This is where plants go to either shape up or be dishonorably discharged. One or the other. So don't know which one that's going to be. It may just stay a dwarf plant the rest of its life. I don't know. The pineapple sage is looking really, really nice here. By the way, hummingbird wise, this is October the 11th here, Zone 7A, Western North Carolina. I'm 99% sure our original hummingbirds have long since have been gone a week, and every couple of days there'll be one or two strays come through that some of them are much smaller than the ones that were here. So I must have fed mine pretty good. Let's go over here and look at our Haas Halo Hydrangea. Okay, this is the Haas Halo Hydrangea, which I just transplanted to replace the Miss Kim lilac. I had to revamp the hole here a little bit, get rid of a lot of the zoysia grass. Every time I transplant something and put it where the zoysia grass is around, I know it looks like a huge hole, but the edges of it are not very deep. It's just me getting all the zoysia grass out because it will creep back in. And there we go. Doesn't look like much now, but maybe eventually. And this is October 11th, as I keep saying. I will be giving this a little bit of light frost protection. No frost in the forecast here in the next week or so. It's been down, mostly in the low 50s at night, dipping into the mid 40s. A couple of people in the area, a time or two, like a week ago, claimed they had ice, but I didn't see any right here. So what I'll be doing, I'll just be putting a cage around this thing and putting a little bit of the spun bonded row cover on top of it. I'm not going to put it like all the way around it and super protect it because I don't want to promote a lot of tender growth there late in the year. I just want it to, maybe get this one and the other two, maybe get a little bit of extra protection there, where it can grow another week or two here in the fall, beyond what it would have before it just sort of hardens off on their own. Okay, that's it. I will post this video now. I think I don't have anything else to plant this year as far as I know. And I'm always transplanting stuff, but it's getting very, very late to be transplanting anything. Okay, bye everybody from a rainy Zone 7A, Western North Carolina.